Shortly after the release of an audio recording this past Saturday morning of a conversation that allegedly included
a secret audio recording just cracked open what might be the biggest scandal in WNBA history. For years, fans complained about questionable calls and missed fouls. Most chalked it up to bad officiating. But what if it wasn't incompetence at all? What if the games were being manipulated from the very top, with bribes, backroom deals, and one rising star caught in the middle? Because according to this leak, the name at the center of it all is WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. And the player facing the harshest treatment? Caitlin-Clark, the league's most watched, most talked about athlete. Now, fans are asking the one question the WNBA doesn't want to answer. Is this league actually rigged? Let's break it all down. From the moment Caitlin-Clark entered the WNBA, she became the league's biggest draw, breaking viewership records, selling out arenas, and generating more buzz than anyone else on the court. But instead of being celebrated, she's been targeted. Game after game, she takes brutal hits. And game after game, the refs stay silent. The most glaring example? A showdown between the Fever and the Liberty. Just seconds left on the clock. Sophie Cunningham inbounded the ball to Clark, who positioned herself for the game winner. The moment was there, until she was stripped of the ball with obvious contact. No whistle, no foul, just silence. Replay after replay showed what fans saw in real time. She got mugged. And yet, the officials walked away like nothing happened. The Liberty won by 2, and the most electric player in the league left standing in disbelief again. This wasn't just a missed call. It was a statement. And to fans, that statement was loud and clear. Caitlin-Clark isn't protected. She's being punished. But that was just one moment in a long line of suspicious no calls. One bad call can be written off. 2 might raise eyebrows. But when it keeps happening, over and over, it starts to look deliberate. In a matchup against the Connecticut Sun, just 3 minutes into the first quarter, Clark pulled up for a deep 3. Dana Bonner came crashing into her, hard. It threw off her balance completely. Caitlin looked straight at the ref, waiting for the whistle. Nothing. The broadcasters paused. The crowd reacted, but the officials? Silent. Then came the game against the Seattle Storm. Clark faced constant body contact all night. At one point, Storm forward Ezi Magbigor knocked her off her feet with a brutal screen. Another time, Clark drove to the rim and absorbed multiple hits. Still, no calls. Not even a glance from the refs. You don't need a slow-mo replay to know something's off. The message was simple. She's not getting the benefit of the doubt, no matter how obvious the foul. Fans started keeping track. The pattern was undeniable. Hard contact on Clark. Play on. Breathe on another player. Whistle. And it left many wondering, is Caitlin-Clark being punished for being too popular? That theory gets even more interesting when you see who is getting all the calls. While Caitlin-Clark is fighting through contact and silence, another star seems to be getting a very different experience. Las Vegas Aces forward A'ja Wilson, a 2-time MVP and a dominant force, is no doubt a top-tier talent. But the way she's been officiated lately, it's raised serious questions. In a recent Fever vs. Aces game, Wilson shot 13 free throws. That's nearly as many as the entire Fever team combined. And it wasn't just volume, it was timing. Every time the Fever started to build momentum, the whistle would blow. And more often than not, it helped Wilson reset and take control. It looked less like natural gameplay, and more like the league tilting the scales. Fans noticed. Commentators noticed. Social media lit up with side-by-side clips showing Clark getting hammered with no calls, while Wilson was sent to the line for minimal contact. And here's where the conspiracy theory turns into something more plausible. What if the WNBA has already decided who they want as the face of the league? Because if you're trying to manufacture a queen, you make sure she always has the crown and never feels the fight. But here's the kicker. Even with all that push, the fans aren't buying it. The numbers don't lie, but it seems like the WNBA is doing its best to ignore them. Caitlin isn't just a rising star. She's the reason millions are tuning in. Her lowest viewed game this season, 580,000 viewers. That's 6 times higher than most other games in the league. Now compare that to a recent matchup between the Connecticut Sun and the Las Vegas Aces, a game that featured Asia Wilson, the supposed face of the league. Viewership, just 100,000. Let that sink in. The league's hand-picked MVP played in a nationally televised game, and barely anyone watched. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark draws Super Bowl-sized attention every time she touches the court. So why does it still feel like the WNBA is pushing Clark to the sidelines? Despite her impact being undeniable, in ratings, merch sales, and global buzz, the league keeps shining the spotlight somewhere else. It's almost as if Clark's success threatens the narrative they've already built. But the fans see it, the sponsors see it, everyone sees it. And the question keeps getting louder. Why is the WNBA hiding the one player who's saving the league? Let's cut to the chase. When sports stop feeling fair, it's almost always about one thing: money. And fans are starting to connect the dots. With legalized sports betting exploding across the country, the WNBA has entered a dangerous new arena, one where a single missed call can shift thousands in bets. One late whistle, one no call, one quiet nudge. Suddenly, a team wins. And someone walks away very rich. The leaked audio didn't just accuse refs of bias. It hinted at something much worse: a referee bribery network, potentially orchestrated from the top, where payouts and perks were handed out after suspicious games. Bonuses, off-the-books trips, and in some cases, bets placed on games they officiated. Sounds far-fetched? Then consider this. The NBA already lived this nightmare. Referee Tim Donaghy was sentenced to prison after feeding inside information to gamblers on games he was officiating himself. And those bets? They won, over and over again. So ask yourself, if it happened in the NBA, why couldn't it happen in the WNBA? Especially now, when the stakes are higher, the money's growing, and the league is finally under the national spotlight. Because when trust in the refs disappears, everything crumbles with it: the games, the fans, and the future. And Caitlin Clark, she might just be the most high-profile victim of a game that's no longer being played on a level court. It's not just the fans who are sounding the alarm anymore. Even coaches are starting to break ranks. And one of them has had enough. After yet another game riddled with questionable officiating, Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White didn't hold back. In a post-game press conference, she called it exactly what it was: blatant disrespect. "I thought she got fouled," White said, referring to Caitlin Clark. A -31 free throw discrepancy, and we're not just chucking threes, we're attacking the rim. The disrespect for our team has been unbelievable. That's not frustration. That's a head coach calling out the system. And the fans? They rallied instantly. Social media exploded with support for White and outrage over the officiating. Memes, slow-motion replays, side-by-side comparisons. It all flooded the timeline. But more importantly, a new hashtag started trending: Resign Engelbert. People weren't just upset with the refs anymore. They were looking higher, at the commissioner's office, demanding answers, accountability, and change. Because if even coaches feel like the league is ignoring them, what chance does anyone else have? So let's lay it all out. You've got a viral audio leak accusing the WNBA of rigging games from the top. You've got Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest star, getting hammered on the court while the refs look away. You've got suspicious free throw discrepancies, ratings that don't match the league's chosen narrative, and a commissioner who hasn't said a single word in her defense. All while fans are screaming, coaches are calling out the injustice, and trust in the league is crumbling one no call at a time. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's not even just about bad officiating. This is about whether the WNBA can survive the truth, because a league that markets fairness, empowerment, and integrity can't afford even the appearance of corruption. And yet, here we are, with whispers turning into headlines, fans demanding resignations, and the credibility of the entire league hanging by a thread. So now the question is simple. Will the WNBA clean house, or collapse under its own silence? Stay tuned, because one way or another, this is far from over.